2, before CAT exams, CAT 1, we completed Unit 6. Today we are going to start with Unit 7 after the CAT 1. This Unit 7, the title of the Unit 7, Theories and Practices of Health Education. Theories and Practices of Health Education. Even in Unit 3, we did little bit about health educations. We discussed the connection between health education and health promotion. Because under health promotion, health education is part and parcel. So here we are going to discuss theories and practices of health educations. Under Unit 7, we are going to see the definition of health educations. Then there are the specialized terms were used in health education, that also we are going to see. Then the important contributors of educational theories given by, especially not exactly entire education theories. We are going to learn only the theories of learning. The theories of learning given by Paulo Pereira and John Tovis. So both of them were key important personals were contributed to the theories of learning. Then finally we are going to see lesson plan. There are 4 areas. First one, definition of health education. The second one, specialized terms used in health educations. Third one, theories of learning given by Paulo Pereira and John Tovis. Then fourth one, lesson plan. This is what we are going to see under Unit 7. Before going to see the exact content of this unit, I made some the learning objectives for this lessons. At the end of the unit, I am expecting you to understand what is health educations. End of the unit, you can able to define what is health educations. Then and also you can able to list out the specialized terms were used in health education. Then somehow you understand the importance of learning theories. Importance of learning theories in medical educations given by Paulo Pereira and John Tovis. Then you can able to understand the concept of lesson plan in health educations. This is what I am expecting you after this lesson. So you can able to define health educations. At least you can able to list out 1 or 2 health education terms which used in health educations. Then understand the importance of learning theories. Then understand the concept of lesson planning. Sometimes you are going to train a group. You need to make sure all the areas supposed to be covered. For covering all the areas, you need to have a lesson plans. The health education, the definition of health educations. Health education is a process. Health education is a process which individuals and groups of people to learn to promote health, maintain the health, restore the health. That's what the definition of health education emphasizes. There are 3 key elements were inbuilt within the definitions. One is how to promote the health, maintain the health and restore the health. These 3 aspects were covering within the definitions. So any education programs or any health education programs is a process which enlighten the individuals and groups to learn to promote and maintain, restore the health. So it means the educations for health begins with the people as they are. Whatever levels they are, you take it them as the levels they are having. Then whatever interest they are having, you can take it as it is. So education for health, it begins with the people as they are, with whatever interest they may have in improving their living conditions. So anyone attending your health sessions or health education program, they should have a basic interest to improve their health conditions. That is the primary focus of your participants. They should have an interest to learn health education programs. Through your health education programs, you are going to help the individuals and groups to promote health educations and maintain their health and restore their health. This is what health education definitions emphasize. When you are looking at the definitions in deep, you can able to understand it is a process. This process informs and motivates and helps the people to adapt and maintain healthy practice and lifestyle. So it's a health education program. It is a process that informs, motivates and helps the people to adapt and maintain healthy practices and lifestyle. So someone undergone your health education program, through that process you are informing the health messages. That messages are motivating people to adapt and to maintain their healthy practice and lifestyle. We are going to see few other definitions, few other key definitions. The one it's a practical definitions. Now I am going to see few more definitions which given by WHO. Health education as comprising of consciously constructed opportunity for learning involving some forms of communications designed to improve health literacy, including improving the knowledge and developing life skills which are conducive to the individual and community health. So the WHO definitions, what it emphasizes, it's a combination of learning experience. It's a combination of learning experience designed to help individuals and communities to improve their health by increasing their knowledge and influence their attitude. Because any effort, because you are not, it is not a spontaneous things. You yourself as a health educator, you are going to consciously making an effort to create opportunity for learning which involves some form of communications to design to improve the health literacy. This health literacy includes improving their knowledge, developing their life skills which are conducive to the individuals and community health. That's what the WHO definitions emphasizing. When you are doing a health education programs, you should develop some sort of aims or objectives for your health education programs. Through your health education programs, you develop a sense of responsibility for health conditions as individual, as a member of families and communities. Anyone attending a health education program, they should have a responsibility to improve their health conditions. The urge supposed to be coming from them. So they should, if anyone participating the health education program, they should have a urge to learn and to respond to the health conditions. Then they should ready to promote wisely use available health services. They should, whatever they are learning from the health education program, they should ready to promote and wisely use the available resources. Then to be part of all educations and continue through the whole lifespan of their choice. So there are three common aims were inbuilt with health education programs. It should develop a sense of responsibility among the individuals or community who are attending the programs. Then they themselves to promote and wisely use the health services. Then they should be part of the education, continuing education programs they should develop. So through this health education programs, there is a process it is going on. So what you are doing through your health education programs, you are disseminating the scientific knowledge about how to promote and maintain or lead changes in the knowledge, attitude and practice related to such changes. So through your education program, you are disseminating the scientific knowledge That scientific knowledge is going to promote and maintain the health of an individual and groups through a KAP changes. So if I am attending a program, that program I am receiving scientific knowledge from someone who are doing the health education programs. That informations lead to make changes my personal knowledge level, attitude and practice. So KAP level supposed to be increased those who are attending the health education programs, because you are providing scientific knowledge which promote and maintain the health of the individuals through making knowledge, attitude and practice related changes. So mostly the health education programs were concentrating on the following content, because it's the health education programs according to the level of disease preventions, especially it comes under primary preventions. So it's the content for health education programs. Most of the time we were concentrating on risk factors. If you are controlling the risk factors, you can able to avoid to go the second level of disease preventions. You can able to avoid the second level of disease spread. So most of the contents mainly targeting risk factors. For example, the causes of smoking, drugs, road traffic accidents. This kind of information if you are providing, if you are smoking continuously, what kind of diseases you are going to acquire, or if you are taking if someone is being a drug addict, what kind of problems they are facing. This information is given well in advance. So the risk factors you are going to explain in your health education program. Then you are also giving health enhancing practices, the importance of doing exercise, importance of taking instruction. Instruction should be carried on in the classroom settings. So he mainly condemning that any educational institutions, instructions should be carried on in the classrooms. So he mainly targeted that basic idea of providing classroom learning. So he also emphasized instruction should be carried on in the classroom learning. There should be a freedom, but the classrooms, it should not be a rigid one. The classrooms should be maintained with the freedom in the classroom that students express their own interest. Someone is teaching in their classroom, but they are not allowing students to express their view. That sort of educational institutions were condemned by Paulo Pereira. So any instruction should be given within the classroom atmosphere. That instruction is supposed to be freedomly, that atmosphere which creates freedom to express. The students supposed to be given full freedom to express within the classrooms. So the students' experience should be focus of educations. It is not about passing of grades. The students' experience should be focuses of educations they should receive from the classroom learning. Then he emphasized teachers are no longer transmitters of superior knowledge. Teachers are no longer transmitters of superior knowledge. So he emphasized three aspects within the current educational setup. Classrooms, it's a instruction supposed to be given within the classroom settings. That classroom settings should facilitate students to think or express their own ideas within the classroom settings. So students should practice a democracy within the classrooms. Teachers no longer a transmitter of superior knowledge. So the three basic ideas were emphasized by Paulo Pereira. In his further writings, he emphasized any learning, according to him, a learning is a process which knowledge is presented to us, then shaped through understandings, discussion and reflections. A teacher, he delivering a lecture. So whatever he learned, the teacher is trying to delivering the lessons. Through that lessons, we are receiving new knowledge. which is supposed to be presented by the teacher. We are receiving new knowledge from the teacher, but that knowledge supposed to be shaped through our own understanding. That understanding further shaped by the discussions we are going to have with the peers. Then the reflection towards that knowledge. So this process supposed to be any learning is a process where the knowledge is presented to us, then it is shaped through the understanding, discussion and reflections. This is supposed to be happen within the classroom setup. For example, a bricklayer requires a collection of tools and instruments without which they cannot able to build up a wall. They cannot able to build up a wall without a bricklayer, without tools and instruments. They cannot able to build a classroom like this. But the same will apply to students also. A student readers also require fundamental instruments without which they cannot read or write effectively. For example, the student community, they require dictionaries. These dictionaries, which include etymological dictionaries, dictionaries focusing on verbs, and those looking at nouns, adjectives, philosophical dictionaries, thesaurus and encyclopedias. So these are all the instruments students needed when they are getting new knowledge. So they need a comparative reading of text, readings by different authors who deal with the same topics but with varying degree of language complexity. So yes, someone is teaching or someone is giving a new knowledge that needs to be understood by the students themselves. They need to understand, they need to shape it, they need to discuss with their peers, they need to reflect the same content. So this needs to be supported with different tools. They can also, whatever they are learning from the classroom, they also need to refer from the dictionaries. They also need to discuss with their peers. They also reading different authors' book for the same topics. So studying is a preparation of knowing. It is a patient and impatient exercise on the part of someone whose intent is not to know it all at once but to struggle to meet the timing of knowledge. So studying is a preparation of knowing something. For that they need to be patient and impatient exercise on part of someone whose intent is not to know it all at once but to struggle to meet timing of knowledge. So his main emphasis, it is not just mucking up, because he strongly condemned the classroom learning. Some people are thinking the classroom learning it's like a bank. The bank, we are keeping our money, whenever we need we are going and withdraw our money. Don't think the learning is not a, learning is also a bank, because the knowledge, it is not possible to deposit, or you cannot able to keep knowledge in a particular place. Maybe you can say the bank use the learning, supposed to, the knowledge you can deposit in your bank. Whenever you need, you go and make it from your repositories. But whatever learning you are, get it from the bank. You need to apply, you need to understand, you need to apply, you need to reshape your knowledge. That's supposed to be done by the individual students or individual learner. So now we are moving to the second author. He is also prominent in theories of learning, John Tovey. He was born 1859 and he lived up to 1952. He is recognized as a founding father of constructivism. So Tovey's educational philosophy is largely based on the following principles. Education must lead to personal growth. Any education leads to the personal growth. Then education must contribute to the human conditions. If I am living in a particular context, through my educations, I need to think about my current and also need to think about my future. So education must engage citizens in association with one another. Education must build a coexistence with our neighbors. This is what he emphasized. Education must lead to a personal growth. Education must contribute to the human conditions. Education must engage citizens in association with one another. According to Tovey, there are two major conflicting schools of thought regarding educational pedagogy. The first one is centered around curriculum. The first school of thought centered on the curriculum and focuses almost solely on the subject matter to be taught. Under this school of thought, first one mainly concentrating on curriculum and focuses almost solely on the subject matters. Tovey argued that weakness of this principle in this methodology is the inactivity of the students within this particular framework. Students were just given the new knowledge. They don't have opportunity to practice that knowledge. We are keeping students inactive with the subject knowledges. So a child simply immature being who is supposed to be the matured one. He is superficial being who is to be dependent. So we are giving new knowledge to the child. That child is immature. You are not providing opportunity to mature the child. So he is knowledgeable, but he is depending the context. The second school of thought, learner-centric learning. Under this learner-centric learning, he argues that in order for education to be most effective, content must be presented in a way that allows the students to relate the informations to prior experiences. Whatever they are learning from the classroom, they should reflect or they should relate with their personal experiences, thus deepening the connections with this new knowledges. So if you are teaching something, that new knowledge needs to be connected with their own life experiences. So this two school of thoughts it's not a contradicting one. These two school of thoughts are same kind with the two different sides. So same kind, but it's both the school of thoughts are needed. For example, child and curriculums are simply two sides of the same coin. This idea made by John Towey is the one who introduced hands-on learning or experimental learning. So whatever you are getting from your curriculum, that's supposed to be attached with the practical aspects, or you can say hands-on learning or experiential educations. So in addition to this hands-on learning, John Tovey also emphasized idea about how the learning process should take place. He also to re-evaluate the role of teacher they supposed to play within the process. The teacher should not be Sega on stage anymore. They should not be in front anymore in learning process. They should be in a back end. The role of teacher supposed to be the facilitator and guide, not a leader. So any teacher in a learning classrooms, they should act as a facilitator and guide. So the teacher became a partner in the learning process, guiding students to do independently, discovering the meaning within the subject area. That's what we are doing when you are attending a direct classrooms. Most of the time the lecturers were giving new knowledge, but you have very limited scope for experiencing. So now through this e-learning, we are giving content, but further to teach regular classroom teaching, or you are involving students to play some activity, you need to think. Then how can you incorporate problem solving and critical thinking in your classroom learning? Then real life scenarios related to the particular topic. Does this topic lends itself to a group work? It recommends that following 4 phases should be covered. Whenever you are making a lesson procedure, you need to think about the following 4 phases. The students should explore the concept, or you can say students should discover the particular concept. You can give you can define certain things. They need to explore that particular topic, then they learn and practice. Students apply their discoveries, whatever they are discover, they should the second stage, they should apply their discoveries. Third one, reflections, students review what they were learned. Then fourth one, reinforcing, students apply their knowledge to particular problem solving process. So in your lesson procedure, you should give the students to explore particular topic, then they should learn and practice that particular topic, then they should reflect what kind of, whether they made positive changes or negative changes, they have to reflect on particular topic, then they need to reinforce the particular knowledge they gained from the classrooms. Then fifth one, assessment method. Some of the most common assessment method options were followed: quiz, hands-on activities, writing assignments, group presentations, exit slips, classroom journal entries. These are all the common assessment methods were used. You can say summative assessment, normative assessment, Bloom taxonomy, suggesting different kind of assessment procedure, but commonly followed assessment procedures are quiz, hands-on activity, writing assignments, group presentations, exit slip, classroom journal, class journal entries. These are all common exercises were followed in assessing the students' knowledge. Then sixth one, lesson reflections. When completing lessons reflections, ask yourself the particular questions. Did I part of the lessons take longer than expected? Maybe you can plan 1 hour session, but it went sometimes exceeding, sometimes it's reducing the content. So did a part of the lessons take longer than expected? Was there a portion that students asked for a lot of help? Sometimes students may struggling certain topics. So which area they were struggling? So did students freeze from the information with no problems? Were students engaged and interested in that particular lessons? Were the objectives met by most or all of the students? So this reflections will help you to refine your the lesson plans. When you are taking, this time you are taking, maybe when you are planning for next time the new lesson plans, that time this lesson reflections will support you to design new kind of lesson plans. Thank you. This is how we were end up with the unit 7.